Hang in there, mate.
There's a cough button, Jono, if you need it.
I'm on it.
It's not working. Oh, we've lost him. So, GWS.
I hope he's all right.
We're a man down here. He's looking for the subvest early. You've got another hour, mate. So, GWS, you're spot on. There are some pieces that don't necessarily fit, or there's some pieces that have been taken off the board. But for them, I had a look back through the past few years for them at the business end of the season, and credit to them, they've been a team that has performed quite well over the course of the past handful of years. But for them, Jono, and I'm glad you're back, because the biggest piece for me for them is their health. Because health has never been their wealth. They've been poor when it comes to health. And Nick Poulos,
your best ability
is your availability. And too often this team at crucial junctures of the season have either got players not there or there but in pieces, in tatters. Now, you look at this year, Brent Daniels, who I think is one of their 5 most important players. And if you think about GWS, that you might think that's quite a statement, but that's how important he is for them. And Jack Buckley, the big key defender who, when Buckley and Taylor have been in the same team, the rest of the team has been going poor, and they've just been able to stand up and defend inside 50 entries again. So they were missing those two guys, but Stringer had a hamstring injury late in the season, had 3 across the season.
6 games for Daniels this year.
Yeah, that's right. Hogan could barely walk by the end of the season.
He was in all sorts, yeah.
Saw him wearing the grass cap boots. That's never a good sign. No one ever willingly puts those things on. Josh Kelly's got an ongoing hip issue. That is a big concern.
He's going to miss some time even now, isn't he?
There's
from what he's about to go
really
through.
Big concerns about Josh Kelly. Steve Coniglio's been battling hips and knees and issues all over the place. Of course, we know the unfortunate circumstance around Cal Ward, who had transformed his game. I mean, he was squeezed out of the midfield, and you think, gee, how does this look for Cal Ward? Credit to him. Goes and plays incredibly well on the wing, and then they lose him. So this club just consistently runs into trouble when it comes to injuries at the business end of the season. I like Fonzie, I like O'Halloran, I like a few of these other guys, but asking them to stand up in the biggest moments, and we've seen what it's looked like for this club across big moments in big finals. I mentioned Nick Poulos, so he was the head of fitness and conditioning at Adelaide when Bretton Sanderson was there, in fact, and Sando will back me up in an hour's time. He is as diligent and dedicated to his craft in terms of weights and all that type of stuff as I've ever been around. And he's been there at the Giants, and I actually bumped into him in Geelong when the Giants were playing down at Geelong. They were going for a team walk down on the waterfront. And you could just see he's devastated about injuries because it's cost them time and time again. I still think they've got enough quality in this group to continue to make a run at it for another 1 or 2 years. Whilst Toby Green's still at the peak of his powers, whilst there is still enough in Taylor and Hogan and these guys, I still think they can be a contender. But if they can't stay healthy, they ain't going to get it done.
And their midfield might be of question now, which is why they're interested in potentially Clayton Oliver as well as that. Jono, just as we move away slightly from the jigsaw, but it is part of the wider conversation about the Giants, the toll of getting so close and yet not getting where they wanted to get to in the past 3 seasons, prelim final in 23, straight sets 24, and again, underperforming outcomes in finals in 2025.
Well, and I thought they were right on the right path this year to taking that next step, especially in a final. But
the toll of that as a collective,
it's a burden now,
that's
isn't
what
it?
it does. Yeah, exactly right. It's whether they step up again, and it might be that the health of a couple of players you've spoken about. In particular, Daniels, who I think is a huge player for what he does for the Giants. Plays half forward, gets up high, Dylan Moore sort of style. What he does at the Hawks. So there's a little bit of that. Yes. So this is what we wait and see. That's the question I suppose we'll get an answer from as the first part of the season sort of kicks underway. But I know they've done a lot of work, and Caro wrote a great article this year in regards to the Giants. But they've done a lot of work in that leadership space, especially with their coach, their leaders, to really take some steps forwards in their relationships, but also playing well in the most critical times of games as well. And that happened late in the season where they were able to, their leaders in particular really did stand up, and unfortunately they just fell short in that in the final against the Hawks.
You talk about a burden. Brisbane carried a burden for a long time, couldn't win in the MCG. But they got over that burden clearly. They're back-to-back premiers.
And they had the straight sets exit
That's
from the
right.
final series once they made finals and underperformed in other years.
The difference might be that group was young enough and still emerging, and they've been able to add to that group along the way, that they were still capable of getting over the burden. The question would be with the Giants, have they lost too many? And are some of their best players healthy enough to still allow them to get over the burden? Like, they might mentally be ready to jump that hurdle, but are they still physically capable as a group? That's the question that they might have.
Yep.
Their finish to the season was they got round 21. They got smashed by the Western Bulldogs by 88 points, and a lot was thrown around as to where they really are as a team at that particular point. Yeah, then they played North. They got the W that was required the following week. Kicked 133 points, got their attack back. Then kicked 111 against the Gold Coast Suns, and everyone sort of started to go again. Are they back on track? And then they beat the Saints by 11 at home.
I don't love their game style. Don't love their game. I think they want it to be transition. They want it to be grass basketball a bit too much. You see the best teams, Brisbane and Geelong, who played in the grand final. Collingwood as well. They when you need to, you just need to play ugly and have the ball live in your front half and just strangle a team to death.
Yeah, their points for are pretty strong, aren't they? It's more what the oppo can do.
And they look amazing, and we all get seduced because we want to see the game played that way. But the reality is, and I think it sucks because I want to see the ball fling up and down the ground. But the best teams don't rely on transition all the time. Yes, Brisbane are an amazing team, D50 to forward 50, but they can go into the kick and mark game. They can go into forward half, having the ball live in their forward half. So maybe there's some adjustments they can make in terms of their game style as well. You look at their front half, it's talented, but Stringer, Hogan, Cadman, Green, is that a forward line that puts amazing pressure on? Not sure. Not sure. So maybe they can add to, it can't just be Darcy Jones and Bedford's job to put pressure on. It needs to be 5 or 6 guys applying pressure to allow you to get those front half turnovers and play the game that way when you need to.
14 games they kicked 100 points or more this year, and some were against the best in the competition as well. Geelong a couple of times they were able to do that. Obviously their round 1 win against the Pies was phenomenal, kickstarted their season. But so I think you're right in terms of their scoring profile. When they're when they attack and they get it right, it's on for them. But it's when they're not restricting what the oppo do to them at different stages to counter the scores against.
Yep. That was the jigsaw, JJ's jigsaw on the Giants. Australian outdoor living, from blinds to kitchens, because life's best moments happen outdoors every season.